Over the course of TF2's 14-year lifespan, Valve experimented with a lot of new and unique mechanics. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, and some of them were random damage spread. Honestly, what was Valve thinking? But regardless of appeal, a lot of cool mechanics got shafted, being either stuck in a specific handful of modes or completely forgotten about and left in the vaults of time. And I could be here all day talking about TF2 mechanics that could be utilized a bit better, because Valve really likes to just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. But for this video at least, I wanted to focus on what I find to be the most interesting mechanics in the game that just for whatever reason weren't used to their full potential. First of all are magic spells, which are only available on a select few Halloween maps. Certain maps like Hell Tower, Carnival of Carnage, Monster Bash, and all the ICS maps that no one likes have spell pickups scattered around the map that randomly give you a spell out of the 7 available options, similar to a Mario Kart item block. While the rare spells are a bit too powerful for normal gameplay, the normal spells are super cool and add a lot more depth to the way you fight other players. Fireball and Swarm of Bats are both double-use projectiles, with the former creating a fiery explosion on impact and the latter launching anyone you hit into the air. Pumpkin Merv allows you to place down a ring of pumpkin bombs, sort of like a sticky trap light, giving you a one-time area denial button for wherever you put them. Stealth makes you completely invisible, Overheal temporarily ubers you and restores a bunch of health, Blast Jump launches you high into the air, and Shadow Leap is basically an Ender Pearl in TF2, teleporting you to wherever the projectile lands. With the exception of Fireball, because being able to one-shot light classes is a bit too powerful, all of these spells are relatively balanced since they only have 1 or 2 uses each, and some of the ways you can use them with specific classes really change how the game is played. It's super fun to be able to teleport behind someone as heavy, catapult up to better angles as sniper, launch people into the air for sick demo man air shots, or even just have a 100 damage pocket nuke. Seriously, Fireball's kinda busted. Having all these new and unique abilities at your disposal adds a fresh twist to combat, and I always look forward to playing on Halloween maps like Hell Tower every year to take full advantage of that. Now that's not to say that Halloween spells are perfect. There would need to be a bit of tweaking before you could just slap them into any old map or game mode. Since TF2 is a very visually based game, being able to see what spells enemies currently have at their disposal would help you be able to react to otherwise unfair situations. For instance, if I see someone running at me with an overheal spell, I'd probably choose not to fight him because I know they could just heal away any damage that I deal. Additionally, some spells like Fireball and Overheal would probably need to be tuned down, since they're basically an instant win button if you use them properly. And then there's the issue of the rare spells being either super annoying or downright broken, such as Meteor Shower's ability to kill the entire team in less than 3 seconds with good aim, or Monoculus's ability to give you 15 entire seconds of complete area denial. But with some minor adjustments, Halloween spells could easily be one of the most fun mechanics the game has to offer, since they basically add another layer of combat similar to manpower power-ups. Oh wait, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Manpower power-ups are another mechanic that I think is worth putting on the list. Similar to Halloween spells, they do a lot that change up combat, allowing whoever holds them to have powerful and fun abilities that they otherwise wouldn't. But unlike spells, power-ups are a bit too crazy for normal gameplay. Spells only have 1 to 2 uses each, which means that similar to Uber, you can force enemies to waste them in self-defense or bait them into using them too early. But power-ups are always passively active, and the effects they give you range from a decent mobility boost to so brutally overpowered that I question Valve's decision-making process. To quickly run down the list of what each one does, because based on queue times I know that most of you don't play manpower, Strength doubles your damage and removes damage fall off, Resistance makes you take half damage and gives you backstab immunity, Vampire gives you more max health damage resistance and converts the damage you deal into self-healing, Reflect gives you 400 max health and forces anyone attacking you to take 80% of the damage they deal, Haste makes you move, fire, reload, and charge weapons twice as fast, Regeneration gives you stupidly fast health and ammo regeneration, Precision removes damage fall-offs, makes bullet weapons perfectly accurate and triples projectile speed, Ability drastically reduces movement speed, weapon switch speed, jump height, and grapple speed, Knockout forces you into a melee-only playstyle but boosts your health and damage into the high heavens, Plague makes anyone you touch die in 10 seconds if they don't get healing, Supernova stuns everyone around you and removes their power-ups when you use it, and King gives you a weaker version of the already broken Regeneration and Haste power-ups to you and all nearby teammates, in addition to boosting your max health by 100. So yeah, now that we have all that covered, you can start to see the problems with bringing these into other modes without any changes. Haste, Strength, King, and especially Regeneration are completely game-breaking when used by good players, so if we want power-ups to make an appearance in a game mode that isn't as bonkers as manpower, we need to nerf most of them into the ground. Still though, the concept of a passive power-up in TF2 is pretty neat, especially because you can more or less customize the strengths and weaknesses of your class. As for modes that could take advantage of power-ups, I always thought a mode like Highlander, where everyone chooses a unique power-up at the start of the round in addition to their class, would be super cool. That way, in addition to having exactly one of each class active at any given time, you'd also have one of every power-up active, but the gameplay would differ drastically based on which class chooses to use what. Power-ups aren't manpower's only claim to fame, though. Grappling hooks are the other mechanic that were created specifically for the mode. What Halloween spells add to combat, grappling hooks add to movement. With one of these bad boys equipped, you can fly around the map with ease, and it's honestly a lot of fun to do. And that's not to say it doesn't change combat either. Classes like Pyro that normally don't have much mobility now have a super efficient way to close the gap between themselves and an enemy. Grappling hooks change TF2's already complex movement dramatically, but the weirdest part about them to me is realize how much development was done under the hood. There currently exists 13 individual grappling hook related commands that allow you to change stuff like projectile speed, movement speed, firing delay, and maximum distance. For a mechanic that's only really used in a relatively niche mode, you have a lot of customization at your disposal, which is weird because none of these commands are used at all in vanilla TF2. It's even one of the few items in the game that still gets balance changes, even if they only come along the numerous manpower updates that happen for some reason. Honestly, grappling hooks are probably overkill on most maps since they're not designed around that level of mobility. While it would be fun to get from one side of 2-4 to the other in less than a minute is heavy, it definitely wouldn't be balanced. But if you make new maps with grappling hooks in mind, the sky is quite literally the limit. You have a lot of freedom with how you design a map's geometry, since any class can get around as easily as any other. Otherwise, impractical map designs that are super open or vertical would now actually work, which is something that I would love to see TF2 do more often. Now, like most of Valve's underused ideas, hooks aren't perfect. Giving every class equal mobility does have its problems, so ideally the grappling hook would have to be balanced differently for each individual class to keep their strengths or weaknesses intact. Getting hooked by other players is also a borderline unfair mechanic, since it deals constant damage and prevents you from escaping if someone hits you, pretty much guaranteeing your death. But with the right precautions taken, grappling hooks would be an amazing mechanic to design new maps or modes around, since like the previous mention, they mix up one of the game's core mechanics to such a degree that it keeps it feeling fresh. And finally, the Duck Journal was added as a minor part of the End of the Line update in late 2014. Wow, has it really been 7 years since End of the Line? Holy crap. Anyway, for about a month after its addition, killing people while you had the Duck Journal equipped would cause a bunch of rubber ducks to drop everywhere, which you could then pick up to increase your duck streak, which, yes, is actually what they called it for some reason. And for whatever reason, the duck streak system was incredibly intricate. You could increase your duck power by using duck tokens, which causes more ducks to drop per kill, meaning that your duck XP level increased faster, so you could more quickly get to the top of the duck career XP leaderboard. I am really starting to dislike saying the word duck. Like, seriously, look at the item wiki page for the Duck Journal. Why is there so much complicated stuff on here about an item that's basically a glorified kill streak tracker? This event was active for less than a month. You could have had each kill drop a single duck and call it a day. Nowadays, the Duck Journal is a fun gimmick item, basically being an infinite use noisemaker that quacks when you press age. It's still a cute item, but there could have been a lot more done with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards worth of information they made for this thing. Oh, and it even has its own unique strange ranks and even kill icon, which I had no idea existed when I made the rarest kill icon video, because this probably would have won out of sheer obscurity. So those are the main mechanics that I wanted to cover, but there are a few more minor ones that I'll give a quick mention to. Things that modify items, such as item sets, item levels, Strange-ifiers, and collector's kits all seem to have gone by the wayside, either not being added to new items in a while or never having mattered at all. Several game modes such as robot destruction, special delivery, pastime, medieval mode, territorial control, player destruction, and of course manpower are all criminally underutilized, but I want to make a separate video on all of those because those are a very interesting topic, so I won't talk about them much here. And even basic core mechanics such as fire damage and swimming just don't come into play as much as you'd expect them to. Regardless of how impactful a mechanic can be, it makes me sad that some of these have just been left to rot. I'm sure someone at Valve spent a good amount of time conceptualizing and coding them, and I'd hate for all of these perfectly good and already implemented mechanics to go to waste. Anyway, that's it for underused TF2 mechanics. I'd also consider doing a video talking about the underused game modes I mentioned earlier, or new game mode ideas based on some of the underused mechanics that I mentioned, so if any of those sound interesting, please let me know and I'll probably develop them. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you hated this video, make sure to turn your phone upside down before pressing the thumbs down button, and most importantly, have a good one.
I got nothing there. Okay, nice. Final die, final die! No! I don't have enough damage. I needed my awaken, man. Oh, if only I charged in knowing he had that. Why is Ash here? I can actually just get her, no? Auto max ult, okay. Fuck it. Wait, I'm actually kind of beating her up. Oh, I can't go anymore. I can, my... Oh, he sucked him, yes! I was like, what the fuck is Ash doing here? Did she actually just rage quit? Hey, what the fuck are you? Holy shit, that lasts long. So close. Okay, got him. I think I'm utilizing all my spells really well here. But I'm so fast. I'm maxing E. Bonk. Oh. You know what I realized? I have 2 points in ult and 2 points in E. I'm not even maxing E right now. Only for Dragons here. Dragon might be a good win con. Oh no, what? He's unstoppable? We can kill him together. Wow, he's so fast though. I got speed though. W. Oh, what? Okay, we got him. Not realize we got him. What the fuck are you, sir? W. Minions got him. Oh, attack, nice. What the fuck? Wait, I'm kind of insane. I'm here. W. Okay, nice. I'm actually going crazy on the Udi right now. You don't want to jump in this. Can't make me sleep. Okay, sure. I'm gonna stun and run. I don't win. Okay, he absolutely destroys me though. Fuck. What's a Trailblazer? At max speed, create trail that speeds up allied minions. Alright, fuck it. Trailblazer. I can't build it? Why? Why can't I build it? Oh, why can't I build it? What the fuck? Hey, look who I found. Holy fuck. He cannot escape. Oh my god, I'm too fast. Look at this bee. Zoom. I can't build it because I have dead mans. Oh man. Does this build into anything? Trinity? Oh, it builds into Trinity. We're fine. I think this guy right here. He's actually gonna run, yeah. I thought so. I might be able to get Lilia. I'm actually not even joking. Boo. Bye. I think I could have lived that. I used my double E way too early. Fuck. I'm just going around doing this. so fucking fast. I have no damage though. But I can't keep going. Holy shit, I'm dodging everything. Oh, look how low this guy is though. Don't kill him. Probably not. Ash might be there. Oh, what the fuck? But how? Stunned? Stunned? Come here, Ash! Ain't no fucking way! You're fucking getting away! Oh no, nice! What the fuck? Finally max my E as well. Ash might come around here soon. There she is. Okay, she's kind of trapped. Oh, bonk. Nice. I'm coming around this way. I couldn't unstoppable myself. E! Done! Dodge that! Okay, nice! There it is. My win con is Lucian. He's the only one who does damage here. He thought about chasing me for a second, and it was like, actually, no. Stunned? 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 Oh, fuck. I'm too fast. I'm going this way. Okay, Warwick is here for some reason. Stunned? Okay. Now get Udi out of league, man. I got this guy. I stopped it. Oh my god, I just killed him. Oh shit. The double E. You're trapped. Bye. I'm Eing again. Okay, nice. I can see why the enemy team is pissed off with me right now. Hey! I will not forget this! Come here, I'm so fast!
Senior Vice President, Walt Disney Company details discriminatory hiring practices. Nobody else is going to tell you this, but they're not considering hiring any white males for the job. Okay, here we go.
There have been times where, you know, there's no way we're hiring a white male.
Just kind of
Yeah.
unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male. That's what
He's a
there's no way
senior
we're
vice
hiring
president
a
and
white
team
male.
lead
It's
kind
for
of-
Disney. I mean, of course people do that. Like, it's obvious this has been happening. The whole full video is wild. Really? They said he won't even promote half black people that don't look black enough. Bro, where's this? There's no shot. What's this?
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't like appear half black. And a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't like appear half black.
What's this?
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago.
Så de vil gerne have en, der er halvt sort, halv hvid, halv sort, men er blevet opdraget med hvide. Det er den. En, der er halv hvid, halv sort, men en, der er blevet opdraget med hvide. Det er det, vi snakker om, og ikke over hvordan to kommer til at
Ago now, who was half black, but didn't like appear half black. And
What the fuck?
who was half black, but didn't like appear half black. And
What the fuck?
there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not like that's not what's going
The
on."
channel behind this video does conspiracy theories. Like, I'm not interested in other things that they did. I'm just listening to this.
Michael Giordano, Walt Disney's Senior Vice President of Business Affairs.
I think that if you have it on your LinkedIn profile, it's probably not a lie.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
What do you think the competition is?
Well, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and you know, haven't gotten.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their...
One or two cases, you know, I was told very explicitly that it did.
One or two cases. We don't discriminate on race, but in one or two cases, I was told explicitly that it did.
Yeah.
Explicitly how? What did they tell you?
I mean, I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in the division. They're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for this job. They're just not.
So this is generally what I think about this. I think that the people that are obviously writing it off, I think that what he's saying is true. I think that he's telling most of the truth. I would assume that there is probably some degree of exaggeration here, but I do think that most of what he's saying is probably true. His LinkedIn, ever since got deleted. Yeah, of course he deleted his LinkedIn. Like, of course he did. Like, the girl that he thought he was in a relationship with was actually a reporter, and so like of course he would delete this stuff. Probably shouldn't have talked about his job, and he got screwed. You just want to have sex. Ironic. Yeah, there you go.
The original starts with an incredible piece of music, camera zooms in, you leap off a train, you're battling guards straight away. You're taking down the first Mako reactor. I say Mako, some people say Mako. You're taking down the first Mako reactor, you get this massive scorpion boss at the end of it, you get given the narrative and the story as you are sneaking into a power plant, which is like, hey, you're going to be badass soldiers for this entire game. There's going to be huge stuff that stops you, and you've got to not attack bosses at certain times. It sets that up. I think a really good example of an introduction is Batman: The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, with the bank heist at the start of that film, is such an incredible setup, slow pace, slow camera angles, into very quick explosive action, back into slow paced detective work. Pacing the opening of your game to set up the ability to compare slow to fast later, while at the same time not losing people who don't want just slow, is an art, and very few games do it.
And one of the things that, even though it doesn't do a fast pace or it doesn't do anything I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this, but Baldur's Gate 3 has an incredible intro that is secretly not incredible. Like what you're playing isn't incredible.
No, it's
but
very
it sets up
basic
everything,
gameplay-wise, yeah.
But it sets up everything that the game is. In the first hour of that game, you are wandering around, exploring stuff, making choices, fighting guys, talking to characters. Everything's in there, but it's like, we got to get out of this ship. It's exploding. And like, it's so perfectly set up. And it's one of those things that this is the game. This is what it is. If you don't like this, you're not going to like the rest of the game, because this is what the game is. And it's very, yeah, it even lets you do weird stuff. You can stick a thumb in a brain. Like, that's in the first 5 minutes of the game. They're like, you thought like banging a bear was crazy? You're brain thumbing right now. Like, this is what you're doing. This is the game. And it sets it up. Expectations, this is what it is.
But what it does, and you were spot on with that, is it's giving you that adrenaline, that feeling of urgency through flames, through the visual of you're crashing, through the incredible alien architecture, through even the narrative delivery of you've got to escape. There's a time limit. There isn't. You wander around as much as you want. Yeah. But you give the player that expectation of urgency while also allowing them the time they need to do whatever they want. And when they feel comfortable moving on, they move on. The players that want fast-paced early games will take that narrative hook that the game is giving them and play fast-paced and early, because that was what they came here for. And the players that want to be able to explore around and see everything and take in the sights will do that, because the game gives them that option to do that. This is going back to the accessibility chat earlier. Do you want a fast-paced opening, or do you want a slow-paced smell the roses opening? Here's both. Will encourage you to do both, which was very good design and probably why it won Game of the Year from everyone.
Yeah, and it also does something that is absolutely brilliant, which is we understand what D&D is. For some people, and I have many friends, this is D&D to them. Numbers, stats, fights. Mm-hmm. They're not there to be like, I'm Gorgamar of the Bards Guild. Like, they don't give a damn about that. They're there to play. And there are some people, and all they care about is the relationships and the stories and building out their character and looking good. And they said in that beginning, like, all right, you can take your time, you can mess around, you can talk to people, you can go explore things and look at stuff, or you can make the min-maxiest character you want, you can fight this boss who has a secret weapon, right? And you can try to do that, even though the thing's telling you gotta get off this ship. You have an X number of time. And so if you're like me, I'm like, I'm gonna reload this shit till I get this boss. I'm gonna figure out how to do this. I don't care. And it fit everyone's expectation of what that game was. And I think setting those things up, again, one of my, even though the world didn't agree, what I think is the best Jesse game of last year, even though Baldur's Gate is by far Game of the Year, Alan Wake 2, the intro sets up exactly what Alan Wake, like, you wake up a naked man in a lake, you walk through a forest where shit's scaring the crap out of you, and it's like, this is this game. It's gonna be weird, we're gonna get scary, and you're not gonna know what's going on for a lot of this. Enjoy. And it's such a great setup, because the rest of the time I'm like, where do we even go from here? What the hell is this gonna be? If you know what you are, you gotta say it right away. You have to tell everyone immediately.
When we discussed Baldur's Gate 3, you actually brought up a trope that From Software and the Dark Souls and the Elden Ring series have, also used. Here is the first enemy. They are incredibly tough. You're not meant to be able to beat them, but you can.
You can.
And if you do, you beat the Asylum Demon in Dark Souls 1, you get the Great Demon's Hammer. You beat the Idux Gundir was the first boss in Dark Souls 3, I believe. Idux Gundir, which is really cool. That's Latin for the judge. If you can beat him, he has judged your ability to pass the rest of the game. Baldur's Gate 3, if you manage to beat the demon, you get a cool thing. What I love about that trope, and going back to tropes being used, here is a challenge. You're not meant to be able to succeed. But if you can, you'll get something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, that sets up, if you can, the thing you get, again, Baldur's Gate 3, that sword is, for half the game, one of the most powerful items you're going to have.
Pretty good, yeah.
And so, if you have that, and you earned that, it's like, okay, what else can I fight? All that did was inspire me to be like when I played my bad guy version of Baldur's Gate 3, inspired me to just fight everyone, because it's like, yo, I can just fight. And then I was like, yo, Kefri, you son of a bitch, I'm not even gonna do your storyline, let's fight right now. And he's like, I'm invincible though. And it's like, no, I'm gonna still try though, dude. And I can't tell you how many times I tried. You cannot. It's not a winnable fight. But I was like, I'm gonna keep trying. There's gotta be a way. And it's like, no, we're also a story game. Just go to the story, dummy. And I'm like,
but hold on.
I murdered whole towns. You're telling me I can't murder this guy? And it was like, no, this is a check. This is, and then once you beat him, then you go to like another. I was like, oh man. But it does set up like expectations in me. When I was there, I was like, I'm killing everything. Something has to have an equally cool item, and I'm gonna get it. And I don't want to talk to him. I'm gonna kill him and take it. And that's where I was for that playthrough. I was just murder hoboing my way across the countryside, and it still worked.
Perfectly viable way to do it, because the game set up the expectations of you can. If they didn't want you to be able to do that, or if they didn't want to establish in the player's mind, hey, this is a gameplay style that will work, they would have had that fight be a cutscene and you would have just got kicked off. Or they'd have had the fight be a cutscene where you lose, which would have established you are weak at this point. They mechanically reinforced the play style that you wanted to go for, which is a really complicated bit of game design. And I mean, game design is far more complicated than any one person will ever be able to understand. There are so many little bits of facets to it, but talking about stuff like this and understanding why we like doing the things we do in games can help us at least try and dilute it down to, oh, that's why that works.
I mean, and that's why the games that stick with me are always the games. I saw someone in chat mention Control. Like, I'm just gonna give Remedy all the love. In the first hour of all their games, they're literally like, it's gonna be weird, and you're gonna do this. And that's it. It's immediately set up as like, it's weird, and this is what you're doing in it. And you know, FromSoft has the exact same thing. It's gonna be hard, and this is what you're doing. Like you mentioned with Doom, like games that are exactly what they tell you are games that you will remember forever, because they're games that like, I got it, I'm in, let's play. And indie games, I think a lot of platformers do that very well right now, where it's like, this is the game, you're playing this, and we're gonna just make you jump on insane puzzles that are going to drive you crazy, because watch out for wall spikes. And I feel like a lot of that is something people get, but there's also, unfortunately, this weird thing where if you're trying to include story a lot of the time, and I know Dodger and I have experienced this, we're trying to make a game where like it's a story game, but then suddenly the story becomes too much of the focus.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, what the hell's the game? And and then you're like, oh no, we screwed up. We gotta like
literally
rethink this whole
having
thing.
to start from scratch all over again. Yeah.
You bring up a really interesting point with the fact that you enjoyed the game because it set up the expectations of what you are going to be doing within it, and then you go and do those things. Let's kind of link that back and contrast it to MMORPG design from many years ago to now. If you were playing a tank in EverQuest, your job was to not die. That's pretty much it. You weren't doing too much damage, you weren't doing too much healing, you weren't supporting, the rest of your team by slowing the enemy down or poisoning them, you were just not dying. The DPS, the role was to do damage. But then as the MMORPG genre grew and became kind of more homogenous, the developers said, hey, we want every class to be able to at least do everything well enough. And that is a level of accessibility where if you're playing a healer class, you can still tank and you can still do damage. If you're playing a DPS class, you can still tank, you can still heal. But at what point does that accessibility of everything start to impact your love of, I know what this bit is meant to do, and I am playing my role well enough? If everyone can do everything, do you lose that love of, the game has set up what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it well?
This is a community thing too, I think. One of the biggest, just going back to World of Warcraft, it's one of the biggest things I think helped homogenize it as a game was the community are sometimes bastards. And